countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you drama as National Assembly set to reconvene. Presidency APC hailed by election wins. Eligible voters lament inadequate registration materials. Hello and welcome to PTV Tonight. I am Aisha Jibrin. We now start with the health emergency in Abuja. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has confirmed the deaths of 7 persons from cholera outbreak in different communities, including Suka, Papi, Kubwa, and Ushafa. This is why the FCTA has activated an emergency operations center to ensure effective management of the disease in the territory. Humphrey Okorokwo, the Director, Public Health and Human Services Secretary at FCTA, made this known to newsmen in Abuja. Okorokwo explained that the center would be working on 4 pillars of surveillance, case management, laboratory and health promotion to community mobilization. And in Nigerian politics, the presidency is convinced that the victory of the All Progressive Congress in 3 National Assembly by-elections has placed the Buhari administration on a good pedestal for next year's election. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said this at a press briefing in Abuja. According to Shehu, it is clear the Nigerians have enough confidence in the Buhari-Osinbajo presidency.
Despite the absence of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is in faraway London for a 10-day vacation, the presidency still remained determined to sustain its grip of the nation's political space via its party, the APC. This became clear in the just concluded National Assembly by-elections in Katsina North, Bauchi South, and Lokoja Kotankarfi Federal Constituency. Laolu Akande is the vice president's media aide. He also remained positive that the Buhari-Osinbajo ticket is sellable. The presidency is convinced that it has done well in the past 3 years in areas of security, economy and job creation, among others.
The All Progressive Congress has described its hat-trick victories at the weekend as an endorsement of the Buhari administration. It also hailed the electorate for standing by the party's candidate in Katsina North, Bauchi South and Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency. APC said in a statement by party spokesman Yakini Nabena that it remained committed to reconciling legitimate aggrieved interests and emerge as a stronger political force ahead of 2019 elections. It acknowledged that Nigeria has its challenges, but noted that the country has an administration that is working day to day to surmount them. The People's Democratic Party in Bauchi has rejected the outcome of Saturday's by-election in Bauchi South Senatorial District. PDP Chairman Amza Hakuyam said at a press briefing that the party and its candidates would head to the election petition tribunal to challenge the outcome. He alleged that there were manipulations, adding that figures were rejigged to favor the APC candidate. The PDP chairman claimed that vote buying was widespread, with votes sold for between 100 and 500 naira. The outcome of the legislative by-election in some parts of the country is still eliciting reactions from Nigerians. While others hailed INEC on the outcome of the elections, some Abuja residents expressed worry over the act of thuggery, vote buying and ballot box snatching, which they claimed marred some of the election. Emmanuel Bagudu has more.
This is one of the newsstands located outside Abuja city center, and this time our camera lens caught up with these Nigerians doing this. Kari community is a satellite town bordering the FCT and Nasarawa State, and all that these Nigerians are interested in is to interrogate national issues at their level. Now, the burning issue at the moment is the just concluded by-election in Kogi, Bauchi, Katsina, and Cross River States.
The APC, what they plan, they already know that they cannot win the election by free and fair election. That is the reason why APC been picking the ballot paper. Some area we discovered that they don't even send the ballot, the INEC this thing to the polling unit.
They should actually demonstrate some level of maturity, very important. They should not be childish and start going there to box themselves because there are very important national issues that is before the National Assembly, like the issue of the budget for the INEC. So they have to consider that, and the issue of who becomes the Senate president should not arise for now, rather, but this should be handled first since it's paramount and it's timely. It's very important because of the election that is coming up in 2019. So this one should be dealt with before they could also deal with other issues of who becomes the president, why Saraki should step down, why he should not continue as Senate president.
You can't separate the macroeconomy, how people are faring from election activities. You understand? People are very poor. That's why you can give somebody 2,000, 5,000 naira to sell his, to sell, let me put it this way, to just decided to sell, that has to do with his life, to do with his life and Nigerians. Because when you are not buying, when you are giving me 5,000 to vote for you, in the next 4 years, I can't come and disturb you because you have paid me off.
For Farmers Abbey, the Obudu State constituency election in Cross River State had a lot of issues.
In as much as I sympathize with her that her husband is late, the people are not happy because she's not conversant with the politics of the Obudu people. She's not conversant with their problems. She doesn't understand what the people want at this point in time. You see, politics is not all about compensation. Politics should be service to the people. Politics should be delivering. It should be quality representation. And a woman who probably does not know the terrain, how does she represent the people? How? It's going to be a very difficult task, and I see the people of Obudu being shortchanged in the coming days.
The general consensus here is that Nigerian democracy will only thrive if both government and politicians respect the electoral process. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
The drama in the National Assembly may be far from being over. This is because a cross-section of Nigerians are still not sure if the resumption of members of the National Assembly will not be characterized by another drama. However, some Abuja residents want the federal lawmakers to avoid political bickering and rancor and focus on issues of national importance.
After the defection and subsequent siege on the National Assembly, these Nigerians are left with no other choice than to expect another drama as the National Assembly looks forward to reconvening this week.
Well, for me, I will say the senators or members of the National Assembly, they have Nigeria at heart. If they don't have Nigeria at heart, they wouldn't have convened at the first place. So I think they have Nigeria at heart. Just that the government or the power that may be should allow them to carry out their duty the way it should be. They should allow them to do things the way it's expected of them.
The crisis in that National Assembly now, to my view, I'm seeing it, some people are distracting them. Be a party chairman, be or this or that, does not give you the rule to say this must happen and it must happen. It's unfair. People elected that man there. If he's not doing well, you come out and tell him, hey, okay, you're not doing well. If Senate President have not been doing doing well for 3 years, this is the 4th year that's coming, and for 3 years he did not complain, they should remove him, they should impeach him. And now Nigeria needs favor. Now Nigeria wants you to do something for us. You are using impeachment as a bucket or as just your toy or what you just really want to do to create leaders from planning on how to help Nigerians.
No, leadership crisis. Who make that leadership crisis is Saraki. Saraki, since when he entered that place, we never see what Saraki do because to work for Nigerians. I never see him. He entered that place with Magumagu. He still continue with Magumagu to stay here to finish Buhari government. So I never see anything Saraki they do there. Because since what I did for Nigeria, I never see where they bring budget to stay for National Assembly for 7 years, 7 months. I never see him. Okay, so my advice is to remove him. It's not helping matter. Make them remove him. It's not helping matter. It's not helping matter. Saraki is a problem to Nigerians.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I expect them to cease because we should recall back 2014-2015 when Tambawa defected to APC. There was no any magic. I don't know because it's in democratic system where we're in democracy. So and the constitution says where there is a fraction in between the parties, understand, they can defect. And I think there was fraction between the PDP, but then it defected. And the same thing happened under APC. There was fraction. We have Reform APC and APC. And Reform APC took the APC to court. And we have other parallel Congress in APC when there was to show that there was fraction in the party. So by that right, constitution they can defect. But the issue of other PDP defecting, so there are no constitutionally. And they say constitution by under 2/3 of the minority can remove the Senate President. I don't think under the law they have the right to remove him by through the back door.
I got information that on Wednesday they are reconvening, but I know that the National Assembly has the maturity to handle the affairs, and maybe some people are planning to carry out a coup or to overhaul or overthrow the leadership of the National Assembly. But I know that until the National Assembly reconvenes, we should know who are in majority by counting those who are in majority. Right now, we don't know. It's an elusive thing. Nobody knows who is in majority, whether APC or PDP. So it's on speculation. It's been speculated. When we get there on Wednesday, according to the Senate President, they will know whether they have 73 numbers to carry out to impeach the President of the Senate.
They urge politicians to place national interest over personal interest.
They should not forget we, the Nigerians. We are there. Yes, they should talk of national security, vote and all that, but they should not forget that we, the human beings, we are still human beings, and somebody need to talk about us, the human beings.
They should come reconvene and sit as able to approve the INEC fund they needed for the election, so we can move this country forward. They should not hold us to stand still.
I'm bent that the senators are listening to the yearning of Nigerians, and they want to let the security forces, the power that may be, just stay aside and allow them to carry their job.
As the National Assembly prepares to reconvene, stakeholders are of the view that the law should be allowed to prevail over personal interest.
I wish I could hear.
Having seen the reaction that trailed the resumption and uncertainty, if there is, of the National Assembly tomorrow, joining us in the news is lawyer and human rights activist Frank Tete, who is going to be talking and shedding more light. You're welcome, Frank.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Now, having taken a look at this reaction and the uncertainties that is out there about the resumption of the lawmakers come tomorrow, what comes to mind?
Hey, well, you wouldn't blame the Nigerians for having such apprehensions. The National Assembly over the years, over the last various assemblies, have had very dramatic sessions, especially now that the polity has been overheated in course of the drama of defections, the legality and illegality of defections, and the expectations that some persons would have to lose their seat as principal officers of the Senate and the House of, possibly the House of Representatives, even though we're not there yet. So all of those are a build-up of, a high-level political drama. So that is expected at the National Assembly whenever they reconvene.
Okay, now talking about, this defection you spoke about, the APC being largely affected, by this defection is coming out to say that the Senate President, should step down or would be impeached. What does this spell for us? Is this the right step in the right direction?
Well, it's further accentuates the confusion that we would expect, because definitely it's not only the Senate President and the number of senators that defected from the APC to the PDP. We also experienced a very unusual defection from the PDP to the APC, the person of Godswill Akpabio as Senate Minority Leader. As things are now, there are contemplations and expectations that when the Senate eventually resumes, the first thing that will be pronounced is that Senator Godswill Akpabio would have lost his senatorial seat, and then INEC will be called upon to conduct a by-election to fill that position. I don't know how Senator Akpabio will take that, and also don't know how the APC will take that. And then you also consider that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. So, well, what basis would you accept the defections from the APC to the PDP, and then now punish Akpabio for defecting from the PDP to the APC? These are legal matters. There are decisions already in the Supreme Court, but there are also wide open, vistas of interpretation that are in the Constitution that would also begin to affect people like Saraki, Dino Melaye, and the rest of them, who defected from the APC to the PDP on the grounds that there is a division in the APC. It is contestable that there is a division in the APC, no matter how gargantuan all the activities have been, the RPC, the creation of the RPC, the court cases, the parallel conventions, and the parallel attempts to declare a parallel ESCO. Despite all of that, they still argumentative positions that there wasn't a sufficient faction in the APC to justify such defections.
Okay, now talking about that clause, the state that at the national level the party must be going through some sort of crisis for said defection to take place. Could you highlight the constitutional requirements that it would take to impeach a Senate President? That is
so
the highest.
To impeach a Senate President is simple as appointing him, though it is easier to appoint him. Section 50 of the Constitution takes care of that. Under Section 50 of the Constitution, what is required is for members of either the Senate or the House of Representatives, particularly now the Senate, to just meet and appoint and elect a Senate President, and that is presumably on a simple majority. And all that is also required is for the Senate to meet in terms of having a quorum of 1/3. On the other hand, to impeach, to remove a Senate President, there has to be a 2/3 majority of the number of the number of members, or the number of senators, the number of members in the Senate. Now, it doesn't matter whether the Senate may have a quorum under Section 54, being 1/3 of the number. It does have it. If it has a quorum, it meets. But for that meeting, for that session to be able to effect a removal of the Senate President, it must have votes that are equal to the number of 2/3 of the numbers of the entire senators. That is 2/3 of 109. We're looking at around 72 in that regard. So you'll find that that is most unlikely, and in that case, Saraki could expect to still remain as a Senate President. But there is when others now begin to throw up another argument that look, on what basis did Saraki on himself, defect from the APC to the PDP? They could go also and contest in court and look at the peculiar circumstances regarding the formation, the claim that there is actually a division in the APC being the basis. Once it is established that the division in the APC was not sufficient and in fact it was temporary and it is not established, then Saraki and all of those who also defected from the APC to the PDP will also lose their seat, and so that creates further confusion for the politics.
Correct. So having given us the number 73, that means the 55 that the APC, the 55 senators they got from this by-election that just ended, does not make that to total.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
Majority.
Section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G. It's clear that unless there is a defection, then before you can talk about unless there is a division before you can talk about defection. However, section 50 is also clear that you must have 2/3 majority of the number of senators.
Okay, quick question. Are there exceptions to this general rule? Is there any situation where the Senate President could actually be impeached without said number?
I do not. Yes, well, for example, if the Senate President decides to leave, the party that sponsored his election, without establishing that there is a division, he automatically loses his seat. There are also many other grounds which under section 168 can give ground for the loss of the seat of the Senate President. That automatically will make him lose his post as the Senate President. So concerning his position as Senate President, so that he can still continue to remain as Senate President, section 50 is applicable. But there are other situations whereby if he fails to sit, you fail to sit at a required number of times, particularly number of days which the Senate is supposed to sit, and then certain not meeting the provisions that are embedded in section 168, then he will lose his seat and automatically will also lose his post. But that is not affecting Saraki now, except somebody somewhere is able to establish that he is not satisfied, that there is a sufficient division in the APC to have warranted Saraki defection from the APC to the PDP. In that case, his own place as a senator will be hanging. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, because I'm apolitical here now, it is only the Senate that is supposed to be satisfied that there is a division in the APC or PDP before any person can defect. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I wouldn't say, I do not have the records that the Senate at any point held a session to convince itself that there was actually a division in the APC. It is not a place for the courts. It is not a place in first place for INEC. INEC may be able to supply the evidence to the Senate that there is in fact a division in the APC. But if the Senate at no point decided or by resolution that there was a division in the APC, then all the defections from APC to PDP would be illegal, and all such senators that are affected will stand to lose their seats.
So you're trying to say, in other words, that the statement brought out by the Senate President, after his defection, where he made mention of the fifth columnist, it's not an exception to the Senate itself deciding that there's a division in the party.
No, the Senate, let's talk the Constitution here. Section 168, paragraph subsection 1, paragraph G, the second part of paragraph G clearly states. Now let us be more specific. Subsection 2 says that whenever subsection 2 of section 160 section 68, whenever a member defects from one party to the other, it must bring a certificate to show to the Senate, not to the Senate President, not to show to the entire Senate, and convince the Senate. And then we would have a session like, oh, all of those of you who believe that there is a division in the APC, let's have the ayes, and then we have the ayes, and those who don't believe, let's have the nays,
Until that is done, you cannot sufficiently assume that there is a division. That is the provision of the Constitution. Section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G, and then subsection 2 of section 68. Very clear. Now, for some of us, we are therefore, we hold our reservation that despite the Supreme Court decision in the case of Abegunde and on the State House of Assembly, we still believe that so long as that provision of subsection 2 of section 68, paragraph section 68, subsection 2 of the Constitution has not been followed in terms of allowing the Senate to convince itself by the evidence that is presented by the member to it that there is a division, then it doesn't matter what the hula baloo or all the drama and all the cataclysmic happenings in the APC, no matter what they have been, then we cannot sufficiently agree that there has been a division. And then with the seat of the Senate President itself will now be in disarray, and as such we will no longer be talking about whether he's Senate President or not, but we'll be considering whether he is still a Senator of the Federal Republic or not.
That is quite cogent. Now let's look at the defection, from the PDP to the APC, talking about Godswill Akpabio. Looking at his scene, when he defected, he came out to resign his position as the minority leader of the House, and then you made mention earlier of the fact that he's looking, if he didn't come up with this trouble in the party for him to have defected, he's looking to lose a senatorial seat. Let's weigh the both of them. One would say, okay, he dropped the minority leadership flag, and others would say he still already has a senator flag. Does that balance anything in any way?
The concept of minority leadership is unknown to Nigerian law. It's unknown to the Nigerian Constitution. It's the creation of mere Senate rules that can be changed. By the other time, they were accusing themselves of having forged the Senate rules. Anything can happen to that. So the post of a minority leader is unconstitutional. It's unknown. However, that he dropped it or not is immaterial. What is instructive in the case of Akpabio is that there isn't any merger or division in the PDP. The PDP has been operating in an interesting harmony. And for Senator Akpabio to so now violate section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G, means that as we speak, his seat is already vacant. So it only requires a formal pronouncement, and I hate to say that. On the other hand, the question is, does it mean that what the Constitution contemplates, or the Constitution did not contemplate, that if you really want to defect from one party to the other, the first thing you have to do is to go and create confusion in your own party, sue all the national executive, sponsor another set of parallel executives, and then convince the whole world that there is division, and then you now go and defect. That is what we want to try and avoid in the case of the APC. We want to have, a scientific approach, a mathematical approach to the determination of whether or not there's a division in the party, not just creating confusion, knowing that what you actually have in mind is what just mere defection. So you don't begin to throw away the harmony of any political party just because you want to defect. So you find that Senator Godswill Akpabio will now be punished because he failed to create crisis in the PDP before defecting.
That is quite a salient one, because you answered my next question before I went to it. The effect of that particular clause. What are the legislators, what are the lawmakers to do with that particular section? Like you said, the blindsided aspect that they forgot to look at, the effect of that section, in reality.
Only interested parties can go and give effect to that. I expect that I cannot show sufficient interest in that matter enough to go to court yet at this moment. But sufficient stakeholders in the National Assembly, senators, House of Reps members should now approach the court to say that, look, the pronouncement of the actual intention of those who have defected, despite the fact that the Senate is yet to be convinced that there was a defection. It doesn't matter. I keep saying this. It doesn't matter whatever the level of trouble that was said to have been created in the APC. It could have just been any form of political, jingoism. It can be a form of political, form of trying to get relevance. They can as well go back anytime. So until the appropriate authorities, and in this case, the appropriate authority to be convinced the Senate. However, that evidence that is required to convince the Senate that there is a division in the APC, for me, reading the entire section, reading the entire chapter on the National Assembly, I believe that that evidence should come from INEC, because INEC, by virtue of its position, of the provisions of its its functions in the third schedule of the Constitution, it is responsible for regulating and superintending over all political parties. It is INEC that should now say that it believes that there is a division in such and such a party, and then the Senate will now agree, and then on that grounds they cannot begin to defect. That is what I see in the Constitution.
All right, thank you so much, Frank Tete. I don't think there's another way for us to have, summed this up. Now, looking at the uncertainty of the resumption of the National Assembly come tomorrow and listening to the reaction of Nigerians concerning said topic, Frank Tete also did justice to that and made mention of a very salient point, that the lawmakers, the stakeholders who were involved, are the only people to come out and look at the blind side of Section 68. Let's look forward to see what's going to happen about this more. You're still on PTV Tonight. It's time for a quick break. More stories thereafter. Do stay.
My name is Corps Commander Wobin Ayuba Gora. I am the Sector Commander at Federal Road Safety Corps, FCT Sector Command. For latest information about road safety and security, watch People's TV.
Thanks for staying. The Department of State Services has dismissed insinuations that money and weapons were recovered in the Abuja and Katsina homes of its former Director General Lawal Daura. The video had trended for days and attracted the attention of the People's Democratic Party. But DSS spokesman Tony Okuyu insisted that the video showed huge sums of money and that it was fake. Okuyu maintained that no search was carried out in Daura's homes where stocks of money and weapons were recovered. The Nigerian Army has confirmed normalcy has been restored at Maiduguri Airport. The airport was seized for 2 hours on Sunday by riotous groups. But the army, in a quick reaction, described the troops as unscrupulous. Spokesman for Operation Lafia Doli, Theatre Commander Colonel Onyama Nwachukwu, said this in a statement in Maiduguri. Nwachukwu said the protest happened at a time the command was conducting a redeployment of soldiers at the airport. The protesters were part of the special force deployed to provide air defense and enhance security at the airport. A cross-section of Nigerians are not amused by the protest by soldiers at the Maiduguri airport. The soldiers were on their way to Mate on counter-insurgency operation, but they engaged in a shooting protest on Sunday. For many Nigerians, it was embarrassing to the country. Emmanuel Bagudu tells us more.
The army protest at the Maiduguri International Airport has come and gone, but Nigerians are not done talking about it. A few hours after the shooting incident, some Abuja residents are still in shock.
The army is not different from the society. You and I have brothers in the army who are expecting, we are expecting them when they get their salary to give us something. So definitely what is happening in society will reflect on the army too. The army is not even for the society.
Probably they don't have so much motivation to govern, to guide this country or to protect this country. That is the reason why they want to withdraw from such thing, because you know that it's them meeting with the devil, with the Boko Haram who are ready to kill themselves or either for them to die. They are ready to die. So if they don't have that motivation to match them, the next thing they will do, they want to retrieve back. So on one hand, I see them not having the motivation to want to stand these terrorists. On the other hand, also, those who are supposed to be Kanka are kind of reluctant.
Very nice. I'm from Borno State, and I know what is happening in Borno right now. You understand? Our military, they are fighting based on what they're supposed to do. They are doing their own work. But the protest is, I will blame the commanders and the military caucus, that is the big people in the military. They are not allowing the fighting troops to get their salaries, and even they are even blocking them from getting their own allowances. As a military man, you come either from south, southeast, or anywhere that you have never seen that Borno State. They carry you go there, either some visa forest or something like this, and they will not pay you your salary well, and they will even block and share that your money that you're supposed to get it. So they're supposed to settle all these food troops, fighters, that army fighter, military that they used to fight. Let them settle their allowances. I think they are fighting for their own interest.
These Nigerians are of the view that the army protest must be addressed.
As a Nigerian, well,
did you feel embarrassed?
I feel embarrassed because for that arm of the military to protest is a serious problem. You understand? Because the army is the strongest unit of the military. We should be very, very careful how we handle them.
Now it's true, because they have the right. But again, you have to look at it, they are uniformed men. The way you do it, you understand? Uniformed men, they have military court. Before you know, they say they will be court-martialed. They can't go through civilian court. If it happens, a civilian court cannot help them, unfortunately. But they are actually fighting for their right. But in the military palace, there's nothing like civilian going military fighting this, unfortunately. You have to go through the military, through your commander, or you right through your commandant. So that is the unfortunate thing. If not, otherwise they have the rights.
It could be recalled that angry soldiers on Sunday in Maiduguri shot indiscriminately to protest their deployment from the state capital to Mati town rather than transferring them out of the northeast. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
The National Emergency Management Agency says it has donated 8 trucks of relief materials to about 29,000 victims displaced by bandits in 7 villages and towns in Anka, Emirate, Zamfara. NEMA coordinator in charge of Sokoto Operations Office, Suleiman Mohammed, made this known in Gusau. Suleiman said the items comprise assorted grains, clothing materials, cosmetics and toiletries, among others. Heavy rainfall on Sunday night has caused flooding at the Kawo flyover in Kaduna. The rain had lasted several hours, causing traffic along the axis and the vicinity of the Kawo flyover bridge. But at a closer look, the situation showed that poor drainage is the cause of the flood. Amina Nebi has more from Kaduna in this report as presented from our studios.
This is Kawo in Kaduna metropolis after Sunday night rainfall. Several hours later, there are still telltale signs of flooding incident. Government officials blame the development on narrow drainages. They also want residents to cooperate with relevant agencies to prevent future occurrence. And as part of measures to keep the drainages clean, the government has empowered youths to monitor waste disposal in the area. The government is making arrangements to clear the drains, but it first wants to engage a construction company to pump water from the road.
The European Centre for Electoral Support has charged the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct a free and credible governorship election on September 22nd in Osun. Its coordinator, Rudolf made this call at the opening of the 3-day Election Monitoring and Support Center Implementation Training Workshop on Monday in Osogbo. The workshop was organized by the ECES in collaboration with INEC for electoral officials. As the countdown to the August 17 deadline for voter registration begins, hundreds of eligible voters are not sure they could be registered before INEC winds down the exercise. Many of the people cited at the Commission's office in Karu, Abuja, openly complained about inadequate human and material resources. They are angry that there's only one registration machine and official to serve potential voters in the densely populated area. Pauline David is more from INEC office in Karu, Abuja.
With less than 1 week to the end of the voter registration exercise, so many eligible voters are complaining that they have not been able to obtain their voters card. Now, this is the Karu Registration Center, the only center in this axis. We have people coming all the way from Kurudu, Orozo, Jukwe, Nyanya, Maraba, and just name it. We have at least 500 people here since morning, and we have just one machine and one person attending to them. The complaints have been bitter all day.
I must tell you, Nigerians are not happy. Nigerians are angry. The whole system is a big flop. This registration cannot go on like this. They have to find a solution, whether to extend or they have to find a modality of handling this issue of registration. We have a lot of people that are yet to register, and the whole thing is just dragging. And they are telling us the 17th of August. It's not possible. Have a lot of people in their offices, people are in their place of work. They don't have time to come and register. They have to modernize this thing in such a way that people will come up and come and register. So it's that the government, those in authority, finds a solution to this, because the system is endemic. It's a big problem. Let them take the machine to people's offices. Let them take to where people are working. Take it to the office. Let them register. Coming to this place is serious taxing.
This INEC center here is just being centralized on only just this place. I came all the way from Kurudu down to this place as early as 3 o'clock this morning. I wrote my name down. I wrote my name down. I was number 105 on the list. For me to get down there where they were calling the names. So for my name to be now interchanged with somebody's name, and I had 105, they called another woman's name. So I was very, very surprised. So I think INEC need to do something about this voters registration, and they need to extend the date. And in this center here is just only one machine they use in capturing people. And for you to even get the form, it's a big deal. So I think they need to do something on it.
And we just heard now that there's only one computer that is working, which is not fair. You understand? So we just want somebody to come out from this place now. Tell us if we cannot get the form. So we'll go home. If the form is available, we'll wait and collect the form. Let them arrange this place properly. You came in here and you saw crowd here, there. Or we don't know where they're collecting the form from. We don't know.
And the situation you are seeing is not because the closing date of this thing is 17th. What you see here is what happens here every other day. Every day, the crowd you see here is not because of the closing date. People are willing to come out for this exercise, but from the INEC end, there is apathy. Yes, they need to reorganize themselves and do something. There is no light in the office. Even the office does not look like even a government office. There is no sign. I don't know how you trace this place. There is no sign to show that this is even INEC office in the first place.
Women with children were seen seated on the ground waiting for their turns. Pregnant women also did not hesitate to express their displeasure, as the stress on them was much.
I've been here since 7:30, and when I came, I was number 461. And the way the environment is not even well organized. And you have to peep through the window, and the place is and the wall is high. So they will not even see you to know if you are pregnant or you have a baby. And I cannot struggle with other people before they will hit me. I'll see myself in the hospital. So what they are supposed to do, at least they are supposed to attend to pregnant women and nursing mothers even before any other thing. But now they say I should go home. You came here, I've been here to write name. So which means that the name that they are writing here, you write name. After writing name, for 5 o'clock, you came here to write name. And after the name, the main is supposed to start by 9 o'clock. So after whatever the name that they are writing is. After you've written the name, before you now call me. So the name that you now wrote now, they wrote yesterday's date on it. So what are we doing? Are we here to sell granite, or are we here to sell pepper and tomatoes? So it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I've been here since morning. I'm even pregnant. I'm carrying look, all my legs has been swelling up since morning. Just sitting here for nothing.
But for others, it was an opportunity to do business. In all of this, efforts to talk to the INEC officials proved abortive. But from all indications, many eligible voters in Karo and its environs may not be registered before voter registration deadline day. Paulum David, PTV News, Abuja.
Fires razed about 21 shops at the fish market in Maiduguri on Sunday night. The spokesman of Borno State Fire Service, Ambusa Pinda, disclosed this to newsmen in Maiduguri on Monday. He disclosed that preliminary investigation into the incident by the State Fire Service Department indicated that an electrical spark from one of the shops in the market was the cause of the inferno. Pinda said the fire started at about 10:30 p.m. and lasted for about 3 hours, destroying property worth millions of naira. And on economy, Nigerian Stock Exchange commenced trading for the week on Monday on a bearish note, and with all share index dropping by 0.13%. The index shared 46.19 points or 0.13% to close at 35,399.28 compared to 35,446.47. In the same vein, the market capitalization, which opened at 12.941 trillion naira, lost 18 billion naira to close at 12.293 trillion naira following the dominance of the bears. Guinness recorded the highest loss to lead the laggers table, dropping by 4 naira to close at 90 naira per share. On the other hand, Mobil Oil led the gainers table, gaining 4 naira to close at 480 naira per share. United Bank for Africa was the most active stock, trading 59 million shares worth 228.38 million naira. In all, the volume of shares traded closed lower, with an exchange of 160.43 million shares valued at 2.2 billion naira transacted in 3,120 deals. This was in contrast with the turnover of 192.99 million shares valued at 2.03 billion naira exchanged in 300 deals on Friday. You're watching PTV Tonight. It's time for a quick break. Foreign and sports news will come next. Do stay. You're welcome back. Starting the foreign scene, 2 senior Kenyan government officials have been charged in court with fraud over the building of $3.2 billion Chinese-funded railway line. The 2 are accused of paying more than $2 million in compensation to private firms which falsely claimed to own land through which the line ran. The officials and 15 other accused have pleaded not guilty to the charges. The railway line was Kenya's biggest infrastructure project since independence from the UK in 1963. President Uhuru Kenyatta opened it in May last year, hailing it as the new chapter in the East African state's history. Mozambique security forces have identified 6 men they regarded as the ringleaders of the nascent insurgency group that has killed more than 100 people in the north. They called on local people to help capture them. The police claimed that the men were leading attacks in Kabul, a poor province in the border of Tanzania, where companies are developing one of the biggest gas funds in the decade. The names are the first clear sign the authorities have detailed information about the people behind attacks that began in October 2017 and have grown into the potential beginnings of an insurgency. For sports stories, let's now join Daniel Mwaboso.
Welcome to PTV Sports Desk. I am Daniel Mwaboso. We take off now from NFF, where Mohammed Sanusi, General Secretary of the Nigerian Football Federation, headed by Amaju Pinnick, on Monday said he could only be sacked by a body recognized by CAF or FIFA. Sanusi told the media in Abuja that he would not be bothered by any declaration of his being sacked by any group. The Chris Giwa-led NFF board had on Sunday said it had terminated the appointment of Mohammed Sanusi as the NFF Secretary General. But according to the Giwa-led NFF board, Sanusi's appointment termination followed the enrollment order 5, page 3 of the order of the Federal High Court in Jos. Victor Iroele, Giwa's senior special assistant on media, had said on Sunday in a statement that the order was granted to the matter's first and second applicants. According to the order, all acts, resolutions, and or decisions made or taken by the Executive Committee of the NFF reportedly elected on September 30, 2014 were also set aside. Still in football now, the video assistant referee was used for the first time in Spanish football on Sunday. It was used to award midfielder Pablo Sarabia with Sevilla's opening goal against FC Barcelona in the Spanish Super Cup. Referee Carlos Chero del Grande deferred to the video assistants to ensure Sarabia was not in an offside position when he latched on to Luis Muriel's pass. Serbia had given Sevilla a surprise lead against La Liga and Kings Cup holders FC Barcelona in the 9th minute in the Super Cup game in Tangier, Morocco. And Western midfielder Edmilson Fernandez has joined Italian side Fiorentina on a season-long loan. Fernandez had found himself surplus to requirements at the Premier League club after new manager Manuel Pellegrini brought in a host of new players in pre-season. The 22-year-old, capped 4 times by Switzerland, joined the Hammers in 2016 from FC Sion and made 48 appearances. Arsenal goalkeeper Peter Cech has pleaded for patience after Unai Emery's first match as Arsene Wenger's successor ended in a 2-0 defeat to Manchester City. The Gunners were largely outclassed by the Premier League champions on Sunday and struggled to implement some obvious changes demanded by Emery in the off-season. Cech nearly scored an embarrassing own goal and looked uncomfortable in trying to play out from the back as City pressed high. After a series of risky passes, a long clearance by Cech was met with huge cheers from the Arsenal fans, but the veteran called for Emery's methods to be given time. We move now to tennis, where Aruna Quadri has become the first Nigerian to win the ITTF Nigeria Open men's singles title after defeating Frenchman Hakard Anthony in the final match of ITTF Nigeria Open 2018 held at Molade Okoya Thomas Hall of the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Surulere, Lagos. The world number 18, who earlier in the day took out Thailand's Wisutanyong Sanaput 11-9, 14-12, 11-9 and 11-8 in the semi-finals. For his effort, Quadri won the competition's top prize money of $5,000. The Nigerian also won another $200 courtesy of Fair Play Award, which was also awarded to him. Still in tennis now, world number 1 Rafael Nadal on Sunday withdrew from next week's ATP Cincinnati Masters event as he prepares for this month's US Open. The 32-year-old scooped the 80th title of his career earlier Sunday with victory at the Toronto Masters. However, the Spaniard said in a statement following the win that he had decided to adjust his schedule in order to preserve his fitness. The withdrawal leaves Roger Federer as the tournament's highest seed in second. The Swiss did not play Toronto in order to conserve his resources, an example being followed by his main rival. Nadal will be placed in the draw by a lucky loser. Nadal had signaled he was planning on withdrawing following his 6-2, 7-6 win over Stefanos Tsitsipas earlier Sunday. And in athletics, Dina Asher Smith has won her third gold medal of the European Championship as she led Great Britain to victory in the women's 4x100 meters relay final in Berlin. 100 meters and 200 meters champion ran a superb final leg to pass Germany, Switzerland and Netherlands in the final 30 meters for a fitting end to her campaign. Britain then won the men's 4x100 meters relay in the final event of the competition. Laura Murray took 1,500 meters gold for her first major outdoor titles, with teammate Laura Wingman getting bronze. The Nigerian Powerlifting Federation has praised its athletes for winning 11 gold and 2 silver medals at the World Powerlifting Africa Championship that ended in Algiers, Algeria on Sunday. The president of the federation, Queen Obu, told reporters on Monday in Lagos that the athletics did the country proud with their outstanding performance. Media reports that 13 powerlifters represented the country at the championship, which began on August 10th. And that's all we have on PTV Sports Desk. My name is Daniel Waboso.
Thank you there, Daniel. And that's the size of our bulletin tonight. On behalf of PTV News production crew, many thanks for watching. I am Aisha Jibrin.
Watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.